Hello everyone, welcome to the Travel Coach, moving body, mind and spirit. My guest today is a mental health counselor and female confidence coach, founder of the Female Boss Era, helping women to take charge over their careers and their lives. Her mission is to help ladies stop overanalyzing, overthinking and overplanning, to finally start taking action and become unstoppable female leaders. She's originally from Hungary, but she's been traveling all over the world, and now she has just started a new life as a digital nomad. Tiffany, welcome to the Travel Coach.
Hi, Sonia. Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for taking the time and being here with us today. So as you know, I like to start every episode by asking you, what is your memories as a child growing up with travel? So what was your experience that you had as a child, and what are the memories that you want to share with us?
So when I was a kid, we were not traveling as much abroad as I'm doing now. We were traveling mostly within Hungary. Sometimes we traveled with my father to a few places in Europe, but my most memorable travel stories came in my teenage years and the beginning of my university years. But yeah, as a kid, it wasn't such a big traveling experience for me.
So you were traveling inside Hungary, is what I understand, not internationally. Is that correct?
Yes. So, sorry, can you just let me know if you can hear me right? Because
I do.
Okay, brilliant.
So you were traveling most locally or nationally versus internationally?
Yeah, so we traveled a lot within Hungary and around Hungary in the neighborhood countries, because we have like 7 neighbor countries, so there's plenty places where you can go. But we were not going that far places, and to be fair, they were not that memorable. They were not that life-changing. I remember I loved them, but I don't have that, that life-changing memories from that time.
I get it. So then more in the adulthood, you were traveling maybe more often, or what was the experience, the trip, or the first big international trip that you can remember?
So the first big one was actually, I found an advertisement that there's a chance for university students to apply to an exchange program to the USA for a summer. So I could spend 4 or 5 months in the US working for a kids camp, being a kids camp counselor. I was actually like a lifeguard who was teaching kids how to learn swimming, really. And that was something really, really big and life-changing experience for me, because first of all, I was confident enough to go by myself. I haven't invited any of my friends with me, and this camp was specialized for underprivileged kids. So seeing those kids coming from pretty bad neighborhoods has changed my life, because it was so amazing to know their background, but also hear them, how they talk about their life goals, how they want to achieve all their dreams. And it was just so inspiring that coming from all those bad neighborhoods, these kids could still dream, and they were so sure that they could reach whatever they want. And that was the spirit I was really looking for, which was so inspiring for me. And this whole experience, that summer experience, was really a life-changing memory for me. And when I returned afterwards to Hungary, I really felt like a changed person, because I just experienced so much. Seeing just the different lifestyle probably would be enough, but facing all these kids' stories is just something remarkable.
Okay, I would like to go a bit deeper on that. So how old were you in this trip?
I was actually only 19 or 20, so I didn't go to the US for all the parties and everything, because obviously I'm a lot of age. But because in Europe it's 18, I was like an adult already, so it was a bit weird. But I still have the open mind as like a teenager or like a kid, but I also had some sort of experience as a young adult. So I think it was just the right time for me, because that's the time when you can go open-minded into the world and just take in everything it provides.
I just was trying to put myself in the mind of 19, years old teenager, and thinking with not a big travel experience abroad. I don't know how your language skills were, but to be like, the courage that it took to make this decision and go just to the US, right? It was not in Europe or like a nearby country, but to the US.
Yeah.
I suppose that also lots of fears. Or tell me about the challenges that you had to overcome to go to this trip.
So because I've studied English at school, I felt like I was confident, but I needed to go to this company who was arranging this whole exchange program, and they were checking my English skills, because you could choose if you want to be like a staff for those camps, like cleaning stuff, kitchen stuff, maintenance, or this sort of stuff, or if you want to be a kids counselor. And obviously, to be a kids counselor, you needed to speak really good English. And I was confident going there, and it's going to be no problem. Then I went there and I realized that it's not the case. By that time, my English wasn't, because I wasn't using it. I only just learned it, but I wasn't using it on a daily basis. So I got quite disappointed when they said it might not be enough to be a counselor, for a kids counselor. But because of my other skills, I was a lifeguard already that time. I was doing it as a student job in Hungary already. And also I was playing water polo for years. So I had like good swimming skills and everything. I think that was a big help for me, and that would help me get this job, let's say, or this chance to go to this program as a counselor, that I had good skills. I just needed to work on my English. And to be fair, when I arrived to the US, it was still a case. There wasn't many things I couldn't understand, especially when it comes to like New Zealandian English or Australian English. That was something I've only heard the first time there. So that was one of the biggest challenge, the language barrier. And obviously, it was a big help that I didn't need to worry about the money, because this is like an exchange program. So it's supported by this whole company who was arranging it. And that was a big help, because otherwise I'm not sure if I could manage it. But it was super nice that I didn't need to worry about the financial part of it. I only needed to focus and concentrate on, improve my actual spoken English skills. But yeah, that was a big question at the beginning for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Maybe, I don't know if Hungary is like Spain, but when I was studying English, we were doing mainly, the writing, and
Yes.
And we were not practicing the speaking and the listening. So when I moved to Ireland, I also had this challenge that, oh my God, what is this accent? And
Yes.
I discovered all this that you only know when you travel. Actually, you go to the place. That is different. Like in a school, even the recordings, the accent is very different. So I can get that. And yes, so you said everything was paid. You didn't have to the money financial issue or challenge in your case. So my question here would be, why this program attracted? So you were searching for it on purpose, or you received it? So how you say yes? Why you said yes to that? What was attractive for you?
To be fair, I've only felt like, because I was working, I was studying in university, and I was just looking for some international experience. And in Europe, we have this program where you can spend like half year abroad to study in a different country. That was the other thing I was considering, but that's within Europe. And when I do something, I like to do something big. And when this advertisement came across, I was just searching something on Google, and it popped up, and I was like, this is what I need. I want to go to the US, and it's not half year, but it's a good few months, and I think that's a good time for having a real experiences. So when it came across, I just started to search, if it's not a scam program or anything, but I was sure that this is something what I need, and I need to do it by myself, because I was really in that period in my life when I was about to discover myself, and I thought, what's better way to experience myself than to go abroad alone and try what can I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's so fabulous, but I can imagine most people will just hesitate to take this decision on your own. So you were just needing a change of environment. You needed to meet different people. What was the main, driving force behind this decision?
To have some life experiences, like to come across situations where I needed to, I don't know, find my way out from the bus station and find the actual places, like these kind of experiences. But also, yes, to meet other people, because I've read in their advertisement that there will be like international stuff. And I just wanted to meet people internationally, because I was working in a hotel before, and I met a few foreign people, but it's different, and I wanted to learn how are these people living. And also, if you go and work together in a camp, you probably have the same sort of mindset, or you probably have the same sort of reasons why you start to work there. And I just wanted to hear all the stories, like why someone from New Zealand come there, why someone from Sweden comes and working in this camp. So yeah, mainly the people. I wanted to meet more people and just have the life experience.
That's amazing. Okay, so you arrived there on top of the challenges of the language and the situation. Was like you expected to be? Was better? Was worse? What was the most surprising factor?
The most surprising factor was funny, because I thought that the lifeguard tasks not going to be that hard, because I was already working as a lifeguard, but I almost failed the exam because of the language barrier. And it was just so annoying, because I knew how to do stuff, I knew how to give the first aid and all that things, but because of the language barrier, it was just so hard, because obviously originally I learned it in Hungarian, and then I needed to understand the whole thing in English again. And there are slightly different rules. So that was the first part. I thought that there will be no problem with this exam. So I was sure that I'm going to pass that one first time, no issues. And I was worried about everything else. Well, it turned out everything else was fine. It was so easy to get along with everyone. Yeah, it might be hard to understand some sort of accents, but still it was easy to talk. And because people who's natural English speaking, they were understanding with us. So that was a good part. And the one that I thought is going to be easy, that was the hard bit for me. And it was just, for the first time, I felt so disappointed in myself, because this is something I should do, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't do that. And then with some actual help from some really nice Scottish girls, I made it. And yeah, that was super unexpected.
Yeah, I can understand. This is part of the challenges, and when you go to the unknown and you travel, is part of the game.
Yes.
As I call it. And you were saying that you met all these kids that were from different backgrounds and maybe not that privilege. And what was the biggest realization or learning that you took from this experience?
So I thought that being an Eastern European girl, like Eastern Europe is obviously not as rich as Western Europe. And I thought that, for me, this is such a big thing that I can be in the US with this amazing opportunity and everything. And I went to the US, and I've seen some like local kids coming from really disturbing backgrounds. And then I realized that my problems are not as big as I thought so. So what I've seen is that these kids were coming from really, really complicated backgrounds. And they were still so positive, and they were so confident and everything. And I was just there thinking that my problems are big without any confidence. And hearing all these kids who's coming from abusive families talking about how big businesses they're gonna have, and how they're gonna go to uni, and how they're gonna reach everything they imagine for themselves, made me realize that I should be just grateful for everything I have, and for the whole opportunity, and for everything I've got from my childhood, from my family, and from everything.
Yeah. Wow. Why do you think, Tiffany, that this realization, you had to travel, you had to go there, and you could not learn this on books or watching TV, or, without going actually traveling?
Because it breaks the barriers. So like imagining that you go to the US from the place where I'm coming from, like if you are a Hungarian and they're like, oh my god, there's American people, those fancy movies and everything, and you have these ideas in your head that it's gonna be all like, I don't know, really the land of independence, the land of the businesses and everything. And then you realize that people are facing just as bad problems as you do, or even a lot worse. That made me realize that I had completely unrealistic expectations and thoughts about the world itself. And without traveling, I wouldn't be able to see that, because, you know, if you just see one point of view, then you just stick with that. But as soon as you open your eyes, listen to other people's from other cultures, from other backgrounds, that's when you realize that there are so many ways how you can look at things, and not everything is the way like the media shows it. And it's just a realization I couldn't have without traveling.
Yeah, the stereotypes, sometimes the version of the story that they explain us, or what we see in the media, is not the reality, right? So when you experience it in your own body, you are there and you see it, and you see a different version of that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very, very special, a gift of travel that can only provide. So is there any anecdote, any experience that you keep close to your heart that you want to share with us that happened in this trip?
Yeah, so it was 4th of July, which is the Independence Day in America. And some of the kids were like just so amazed by the fact that it's super sad that they were just amazed by the fact how big meal they could get in this camp and how amazing programs we arranged. But also there was like a small rock, like a small mountain kind of thing where you could climb up in like half an hour's time from the camp where we actually been. And we took the kids up there before sunset, and we watched the sunset from there. And from that, it's called Bald Rock, and from the Bald Rock you could see New York in the background, which is already amazing. But because it was 4th of July, it was full with fireworks. The whole sky was just amazing with fireworks. The kids were so happy, and they were talking about it for days afterwards. And just experiencing it with them, with the whole day, that how it was arranged, it was just something amazing that I will never forget.
Experiencing the joy, and also the joy through them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so you finished this trip, you finished this experience, you came back home. What happened there? What was different? How Tiffany was different than before the trip?
I started to question many things that before that I just took for granted. And like I started to keep my eyes really open. I started to look for international connections, for international friends on purpose. I tried to keep in touch with everyone that I've met in the camp, so I could just, you know, keep up this open point of view. And then I started to work again in those same old jobs, and I just felt different. I just felt like I can't just, let's say, sit here by the pool and keep on doing what I was doing when I have all these massive experiences. So I started to look for different kind of jobs where I could appreciate myself, and when I could use all that power and empowerment that I've learned from the kids, made me realize that I'm not believing in myself enough. And then I started to improve from there. So that's how I could describe the way I came back home, that I realized that I don't have half of the confidence that those kids have from worse backgrounds than I did. So that made me change my whole life around, started to look for different jobs, started to appreciate myself better.
Can we say that you were looking for something, or you were more running away from something in that moment?
When I came back.
Mm-hmm. That you decided to, find other... What was the feeling, if you can connect with that moment?
I felt like I got this big package, this knowledge from all my travelings, and I want to implement it into my days. So I can't go back to the old routines. I need to use all those experiences that I got during this trip.
So you were aware of some potential that you were not using it.
Yes.
And you felt you were wasting it, or you needed to find something to implement that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what happened? What did you find?
it took me a few years actually. It didn't go like from one moment to another. I just took on jobs that I thought that, you know, it might be covering all my abilities, but it turns out I was still underrating and underselling myself. And I've only realized it when we had this situation. By the time I met my husband, we got married pretty young. And then we just realized that we're still not using all our potentials, and we're still not earning the money that we should earn. We're still not living the lifestyle we deserve, and we knew that we could live. So we decided that we want to change things around again, and we decided to move abroad. So it was a pretty big change. It was a pretty big impact from that American trip. I needed time to implement it, but by the end of it, I could implement it, and I could decide that I want to do something that actually covers all my potentials. And my first thought and our first plan was to make it happen in the UK.
Is there any reason you choose the UK?
To be fair, we were looking for something where the language is English, because other than Hungarian, that's the only language we speak. And one of our best friends was already living there in Bristol, so that's why we choose England and Bristol.
Okay. So did you find what you were looking for in the UK?
Financially, yes. As a human, more or less, I would say. So we improved a lot. We learned a lot living abroad, being a foreigner in a place, and not just being there for a while, but like being there for 2 whole years, especially because it was time of the COVID. So it was a really big experience. We learned a lot, but we still realized that it's just still not the lifestyle we want to live. It's still not the way how we want to spend our days. We realized that this classic 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, is not something that suits us the best at this present stage of our life.
Yeah, that's something that we do, you know, out of that we learn that we have to do it this way. We think it's the normal, but maybe sometimes, you know, we don't stop and take the time to think that there are other ways to live your life. So you were looking for other job opportunities, because you said money was not the problem. Was something more in the happiness or in the satisfaction that you had at that time? What was?
We were considering to apply for different jobs, even to move to London, where are like even more opportunities and everything. And we were talking about it a lot. And I was trying to pull together all the experiences I had during these 2 years and during the whole US trip and my whole life experiences together. And then I needed to admit that it's the way how I don't want to live by the others telling me to. So like, I don't like the way that I'm going into a place when someone tells me that I need to wear black shoes all the time and do this and that with different sort of rules that I might not agreeing with. And luckily it was the same with my husband as well. He felt the same way. So we needed to admit to ourselves that it's not the question of where are we, it's the question of how we live in the given place. So that's why we decided to change again.
Yeah. That you said an important thing here. So it's about not about the money. It's about how you live your life. It's about the freedom is priceless. Yes. You know, to have to go through a life that does not fulfill you, that is not satisfying. This is priceless. So okay, and
then it was last October when we said, okay, we had enough. We decided that this is not the way we want to live. And from October, we started to methodically prepare ourselves for a life that we can call digital nomads. So we wanted to work for ourselves. We wanted to have our own businesses. We don't want any boss for ourselves. We want to deal with our freedom and our time. But obviously, it's not just going from 1 minute to another. It took time for us to prepare everything, to learn stuff. Like, my husband never learned web designing before, so we needed to start studying it. I already had a degree in psychology, but I wanted to top up with a counselor degree, so I completed that and the coaching one as well. So we just started to build up everything and prepare everything. And by this August, we could make this step. We could leave the UK behind. We actually left the UK, then went home for a month because, you know, we were missing the family and friends. It was in August, and from the beginning of this September, so only a few weeks time, we left Hungary. We left everything we did before, and we came to Mexico, which is our first step on the road. And we started to work for ourselves completely. We already started to get clients when we were working in the UK, because obviously you need to build up your financial side of it. But we can't say that we were so ready for it, that everything was on point. That's what we're still trying to figure out. But we decided that it's going to be the date that's on 9th of September. We are flying away. We're coming to Mexico, and then we're gonna smash it. We're gonna start building up our own businesses. We were just trying to bring everything to life the exact same way like those kids were dreaming about in the camp years ago. That was really inspiring for me, and that's where I get my inspirations and energy and support from. That I'm thinking to all those kids that I've heard their stories, and now I have my own story that I'm trying to bring alive.
It's like a dream come true. After all these years, you finally are living what you had in mind, that potential, that dream that you connect with in that trip.
Yeah,
that's so beautiful. Yeah. So, okay. So you had your online business that you were starting already in the UK. And if somebody that is listening right now and has in mind, right, I want to do the same like Tiffany and her husband is doing, what would you be your recommendation? How did you plan for this transition? What's the first thing you need to do? What would be your advice?
I think for us, I'm not saying that we did the perfect way. I never say that we did the right way. But what I would suggest is to first of all try to figure out what you actually want to do, because we were trying to look for many different ways how to live as digital nomads, because there are like plenty jobs that you can do as digital nomads, but you need to figure out what you actually enjoy to do, because you know you're going to put so much effort and time into it that it's necessary to love it. So like I've tried to be many different things. I fall for a few MLM kind of concepts and everything. We made our mistakes in the beginning, and I'm not saying that right now we are doing what we want to do in a long term, but I mean, I do believe in it. My husband is the one who has a few questions about it, but still you need to find something that you enjoy, and then you can imagine that you're working on it, and not just 8-9 hours a day, because as an entrepreneur you will need to work a lot more than normally, especially when you're a beginner. So I think that would be the first step, to figure out what would be ideal for you, or what would you like to begin with, because it's normal that we keep improving, we keep having new ideas. I wanted to be just a mental health counselor first, and then I upgraded to coaching, and then I specialized into something even more focused. So yeah, I think that's the first step, to figure out what you actually enjoy in your life, and what are the things that you want to do, and engage with it.
And from there, step by step. It's not about like working less hours, it's working your way in the things you love. And while you travel and you enjoy the work and the experiences you were not able to do when you have like a location.
Yes, exactly.
A base location.
This is just amazing, that because obviously we are 6 hours behind or 7 hours behind in Europe, we can just need to smash it in the mornings, and in the afternoon when all our European clients are sleeping, we can just go to the Caribbean Ocean, like Caribbean seas. It's like mental, but it's so good.
Yeah. Wow, Tiffany, that's so inspiring. I wish you all the best in this new adventure. I will follow you, online, and I cannot wait to see what is the next destination. But before we wrap up here today, I would like to ask you, because I love collecting hidden gems from all around the world. So I would like to ask you, from the place you are from, your region, your country, what would you recommend us?
So I was born in Budapest, which is the capital of Hungary, and I have a very favorite place there. So what you need to know about Budapest, there's a big river in the middle of the city which separates these two sides. It's called the Danube. And by the Danube, there's a little bistro called Fellini, like the Italian director Fellini. And that's just a lovely place to be. They always have like live music events. They have craft beers. It's just such friendly, and you just feel like home. But again, you are in an amazing place next to the Danube. And sometimes they even do like movie nights, and when they do that, those canvases where they're projecting the movies are on the actual Danube, and it's just so amazing. You sit there, you get a blanket if you need, you just choose your favorite drink, you watch this movie, and it's just so lovely to be there. And this is really a hidden gem, because normally it's only like Hungarian and especially Budapest living people knew about this place. But if you go there as a tourist, I would really recommend that to check out, next to all the every other pieces of Budapest, obviously.
Yeah, an authentic local experience there, hanging out with the locals. Beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. Just imagine the picture, very romantic as well. Thank you for that, Tiffany. So, last but not least, if somebody wants to contact you, if somebody wants to follow your story, your trips, what's the best way to do so?
So if you're interested in my coaching with this whole female confidence, which I'm bringing all the way from all these travel experiences and trying to help the ladies with, you can just follow me on Facebook or on Instagram called The Female Boss Era, because that's what I believe, that we are living the female boss era. But also, if you're interested in our traveling, we are doing a blog and a blog about our traveling or our experiences with my husband, which called The Hungarian Nomads. And you can find us on Facebook and on Instagram as well. So depending if you're interested in the traveling or in the coaching services, I have these two options, the Female Boss Era and the Hungarian Nomads.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you on board the Travel Coach today.
Thank you, Sonia, for all the opportunities. I really enjoyed it. It was lovely.
Thank you, and everybody tuning in. Happy and safe travels. Bye, Tiffany. Thank you again.
Bye.